everything that you've discussed and all of the positions that you're in, as being a clarity coach, the co-founder and VP for Measure, your entrepreneurship coach, a global leader, a John Maxwell trainer, and a forex trader, crypto investor. You're like, your list keeps going, which is amazing. I would definitely call you a new term I've learned called a lady leader, and I think you're a trailblazer in multiple businesses. But I want to know, how do you keep up with your wellness and your balance while you're being stretched in all these areas and all these places?
Oh my God. When I tell you I prioritize my self-care on a whole nother level, like a lot of people are like, how do you continue to have this energy and be productive and do these different things? And my relationship with God has always been a priority for me, like ever since. I mean, I grew up in the church, but when I was 16, my mom got incarcerated, and my dad, he distanced himself. And, I just kind of took that opportunity to build an even deeper relationship with God. And so, really, just stepping out on faith and being able to put him first was always on my mind, and what centered me through all of the chaos and, the not knowing and the unknown. And as I've grown and became more stable, I've had to invest even more hours just due to the responsibility that I have now.
Right.
And so my mornings are my mornings. And
Yes.
I have different flows and different, routines, because every day is different. And I don't try to like make myself commit to any rigid routine or schedule. It just all depends on how I wake up and feel. And so I definitely can go through some of those, but I can say like that's one of my non-negotiables. Now I always think about like, okay, what happens when I get married and I have like my routine and how
You
I do
still
stuff?
keep
Like,
that.
You got to
You
keep
could
that
keep
routine
that.
I'm
You
like,
gotta
going.
keep it, girl.
I'm like, I'm gonna have to have my separate
100%.
room or go in my,
Yes.
so it's like,
Ooh, Precious. I've said that same thing. People think I'm crazy, but I said, listen, I am no problem with having 7 bedrooms, and it's not a negative thing. It actually
right.
can be more sexy and like more private, but like it leads to mystery. But yeah, that time in the morning is to me and my routine. And yeah, I don't want to give that up.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no,
And I
I
realize that
even,
like when we're out of those routines, we just like completely skew our whole day. So it's like I've been checking in with different individuals in the community and like realigning myself around the concept that like I have to, of course, take care of myself to be able to take care of other people. And like right now, more than ever, I like totally believe that. You know what I mean? Because I've seen like
100%.
point in fact how that shifts. So like relationship, marriage, kid, whatever, it's like we have to make sure that we make that for ourselves.
So I do want you to maybe walk us through a normal, or what a Precious morning would be like before you start your busy day and get your hands into everything.
yes, of course. And I literally just did a video about this, about really more so focusing on the energy. And so, although it varies, I can say typically I wake up at 4:30 a.m. and I'll just like kind of like meditate and just lie there. And I have a balance app that I use too sometimes for guided meditation.
What's the
Uh,
app called?
it's called Balance.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's called Balance. It's a really, really dope app. And so I'll just kind of lay there and just like really just sit in gratitude and just kind of be like grateful, kind of pay attention to my body and how I'm feeling, just kind of do that scan. And then from there, I'll read my devotional. I have Jesus is Calling is the devotional that I read, but then I also have several other books that I consider my devotionals. The Power of Awareness is one book that is low key like Bible now, just because it really reminds me of just how I truly see God as my consciousness. And so when I do that, it just kind of releases it kind of makes me limitless in regards to like kind of like taking the limits off of my day and being able to say like, just guide me through this, because as a high performer, I already know what I need to do. I know I could potentially tap into being overwhelmed or being, annoyed or being frustrated, but I just release myself for even feeling that way because I know that I'm in alignment with where I'm supposed to be. So I have these types of conversations with myself just in my head, or sometimes I even speak out loud. But from there, I work out at 6 a.m. After my workout at 6 a.m., I shower, everything. So by 7:38, I'm either eating breakfast or going or reading in my nook. So reading is a big part of starting my day
Mm.
too, just so I can like prepare my mind. And then from there, I have the playlist for days. So I got the Abraham Hicks automatic play that like once I get from my workout at 7 a.m., that automatically cuts on. And then once after I eat, that's kind of when I figure out which vibe or which energy I want to go with for the day. And then I'll say, okay, well, what content do I want to post? Because I just need to post and get that out the way. And then I'll open up my computer by like 9 and be like, okay, let me see what problem I'm going to solve first for today.
So that's
What's a part
awesome.
of that midday reset? So if you've done all of this other self work in the morning, are you doing that all again, or like are you on a
No.
30-minute break?
So
What are you doing?
I have a so I tap into this noonday inspiration on Facebook Live. It's this church called Christ Universal Temple. They're based in Chicago, and they do this daily inspiration. So I just kind of like, sometimes it'll be certain days I'll probably still be on my computer, but I'll turn my music off and then listen to the noonday inspiration. Then I have certain days where I'm like, let me walk away from the computer, maybe sit outside, get some like fresh air, and let them pour into me. And so yeah, that's kind of what that is for, just to be able to have that.
Something pouring back into you as you're
Yeah.
giving unto so many and making decisions.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
And so
really, really helpful.
let me ask you about the opposite end of your day. So while people in our community, we're self-made, we're doing our own thing, we have a majority of us have our own schedules. Do you have a hard time turning work off at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, or do you say nope, hard reset, and now I'm going into my evening routine?
Well, right now I'm in a really big season of momentum. So anything after 5, I'm probably connecting or networking with new people. So I do have that, like right now in this season, I'm really focused on really pushing my movement of financial freedom. And so I've really reserved those hours to either help others or meet new people. And so I do that at least 2 to 3 days out the week. But in regards of just like shutting down, I mean, I use my iPhone to its optimal potential. These phones are like too expensive to not take advantage of all of the automations that we can use. And so I have my hours set where it'll say like, hey, it's 9 p.m. It's time to prepare for bed. At 10 p.m., the music, my bedtime beats playlist comes on, and it's like, hey, it's time to wind down. So I'm like, okay, let me light a candle or some incense. And then depending on how the day went, I may just like take a quick shower and get in bed, or do a bubble bath and read a book. But I did that recently, and it was about an hour and a half of wind down, and I was like, ooh, I need to do this a little bit more. And so, even how you end your day can make the next day better. And
Absolutely.
so, it's just kind of like, I just kind of got rid of the self-guilt of feeling like I can't, or I don't have the time, or I should be doing this or doing that. I just kind of like really more so focusing on like the energy and how I feel, and like what's going to make me feel good, what's going to
Yes.
make me better. And so yeah, I'm like in the season I'm in now, I'm like, God knows what I'm supposed to be doing. So if,
Exactly.
so I'm like, if this is what I need to continue to be in the right alignment,
That's
everything's
what
going
it
to work
is.
out. And then you'll wake up, and then meetings get rescheduled, things get
Right.
reprioritized. And I'm just like, oh, perfect. And then you go to a lunch and meet a new person. So,
Yep.
it's just kind of going with the
Just go with
flow.
the
Like
flow.
that's the new version of going with the flow. Like being intentional and prioritizing your energy will allow you to truly go with the flow.
I love that. That's so I wanted to touch on one thing that you said and just give this to you as a little nugget where you talked about the power of awareness and how you feel that God is your awareness. I've always called that the energy. That is your energy. That is
Love that.
that is keeping you, moving you, directing you, keeping you focused. But it's also the energy that you're creating, the energy that you're, putting within you. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing. I noticed that your signature hashtag is "It All Makes Sense." And I love that it's like a double entendre, being that all the way I see it is like saying that all the like previous pits and peaks that you've gone through has helped you get to where you are and the view that you see now. But also, it also corresponds to all making money, right? All making dollars, all making cents. So tell us about tapping into this goal to reach your first million and how financial freedom is now more than ever more attainable for young Black women.
Both of my parents are entrepreneurs, so like I said, entrepreneurship really chose me. I had every intention to just get a good job and be a great employee. I really did, but God had other plans. I've been going with that plan, and His plan's always better. But I never really had a clear, true plan for financial freedom, though. I knew what owning businesses look like, managing money, to some degree, and really being able to, have employees and creating your vision. I knew about creating businesses, but I didn't really know much about creating wealth and like what that really looked like. And so when I was introduced to the skill set of learning how to trade and really learning how to invest, I was able to really be able to have a true game plan. And so back in September last year was when I started learning how to trade, and I made like $150 in like 2 minutes. And I was like, okay, this is pretty powerful. And from there, I've been consistent in just building and compounding and just learning the space of like cryptocurrency and like the future of money. Like, this is the time I've like watched the news the absolute most. Like, I'm never that person that like taps into what's going on in the news, because it's most of the time it's always negative or repetitive.
Right.
But being on the journey of being able to say, like, one, being centered around other multimillionaires and seeing how they've been able to not just trade in the market, not just invest in the market, but I became a member of I Am Master Academy, which is the platform where we learn how to trade. And the company now pays me to push the movement and to get other people on learning how to use this skill set. And I have a background, I have people in my family that, have been incarcerated, or, they don't have the resume to get a good job, but on paper, everyone is not who they are on paper or can be presented in a certain way. And so for me, it's about truly building economic power. And we do that through, having capital. And so I've been graced with the opportunity to be around freaking 21 to 24-year-olds that are making multi-million dollars a month. And so I just hit 30 and I'm just like, let me just listen, because Generation Z, like, they're a whole nother way. They're a whole nother energy. And I'm just kind of blessed with my positioning to be able to leverage their expertise, but also be able to connect with my community and let them know that there's
Yes.
other resources available. And I have 5 sisters and 4 brothers. I'm the
Mm.
second
Oh, wow.
oldest. I'm the second oldest of 10. And to see
Woo.
3 of my sisters, like, one has 2 kids, one has 3 kids, the other has 2 kids, and they're all now full-time trading and being able to provide for themselves and like actually like save and have control of their time, like, that warms my heart every single day to be like, wow, had I not been open-minded to this information and not shared this with them, they could be in a totally different situation themselves. And so it's just really life-changing to know, like, I think the pandemic like woke everyone up to be like, okay, where am I at financially? You have some people that have good jobs and like, I'm
Absolutely.
good, but it's like, are you really good? Like, do you really
Right.
have
If the
sustainable income? Residual income, passive income, all those different streams are important. And so
right.
I tell people, like, your job is not the end all be all. That's just a resource. That's just the
Resource.
foundation. We have to be really putting ourselves in a position to grow our money. And so, yeah, that's really one of my big focuses right now, because if not
Because of
now,
that,
when?
do you have any tips for daily good habits that we can incorporate to help expedite our own individual greatness?
Yes, that's probably like the highlight of this conversation, because it's always good to
Mhm.
like talk and like learn and get inspired. But I'm like, what are some things you can start implementing and
Exactly.
applying? And so I'm glad, I was able to share just one of my morning routines, or one of like typically how I start my days. But
Yeah.
3 things that we can do on a daily and that I do on a daily to expedite my grace, my greatness. And I really want to define greatness, because it's literally the state of being great. And great is just, it means above average. And so just knowing that we are like God's creative intelligence, it just like amazes me every day. And to know that, we were born great, we were born abundant. Just being centered in that every single day and affirming who you are is so important, and affirming it out loud. In February, I started my first like true affirmation journal. Like, I have a prayer journal, but I just was writing like a lot of I am statements and just writing the person I'm wanting to become. And so when you speak those things, you actually realize that person in the present. And so affirming who you are daily out loud is something you have to do.